Back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be, let me scroll up a bit. I'm going to be making a tier list for the best financial strategies tier list for those 20 and below. And I said best. Honestly, if you look down here, we have a couple. We have S&P 500, we have brokerage account, we have lifestyle inflation, all these stuff. Basically, I'm just going to rank them. You already know the drill. S tier is the best stuff you can do when you're in your 20s and below. And obviously the A tier is pretty good. B tier is going to be kind of in between, middle of the road. And then I don't have F tier, but I do have C and D. D is going to be the worst things, the worst financial strategies that you can do right now. And so let's get started. And before I start, I just want to say I want to thank YouTube channel Slow Stack Society. I know he came. I mean, there's probably been a bunch of YouTubers who have really proposed this idea. He's been the one who really just like inspired me to actually make this video, and hopefully I can help you guys into just showing you guys like what's the best financial mistakes that people do and how to learn from them, and what's some of the stuff that everyone should be doing. Obviously based on my opinion. So let's get started. All right, so the first one that we have here is going to be lifestyle inflation. This one, I mean, starting off the bat, this one's going to be a D tier. There you go. Lifestyle inflation is just a plague that really just infests and really infects so many people, especially when you're young and starting to make money. I mean, it's something in which it just drowns you in debt. It drowns you of your potential, really. Because I mean, when you start making money, obviously you want to buy the newest clothes. You want to, get the cars. You want to impress people. You want to get all this stuff. Here's the thing: once you're starting out, I don't think you need these things for two reasons, really. One, you're starting out, you don't have the money to afford these kinds of things right now. Maybe you're going into credit card debt, or maybe you're going into, getting into programs like buy now, pay later. So you're just stunting your growth from the long term potential. And as you're going to see in the next things that I show you guys, it's just going to really just stop you from growing as a person. And more or less, you don't actually need these things to impress these people. Honestly, it's just a waste of time, and that's why it goes in D tier. Next one is going to be a brokerage account, a taxable brokerage account. This one is going to go in A tier. Now, I would put it in S tier. I do think that, spoiler alert, the Roth IRA is a better account to have financially when it comes to investments. But I think a brokerage account is super important, not only for long-term investing, but just for middle of the road. Once you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, it's a more flexible account in which you can put your money in, have it grow, and then not get the penalties from the Roth IRA because you have to wait until retirement. Get that money for a down payment on a house, or perhaps you need that money for, I hope to God not, but for an emergency or some sort of bill that you need to pay. Of course, I don't want that upon you guys, but of course, this is a good account to have your money be growing over decades of your time, but still being flexible enough to get that money whenever you want. You'll still have to pay taxes, but only on the growth. So I think it's a super important account. I would put it in S tier for people who are 20 and above, but for those who are 20 below, I think prioritizing some of the accounts that I'm going to show you guys below, I think it's just more important. So that's why it's an A tier. So for S tier, I'm gonna put the emergency. I'm just putting it right there. An emergency fund, a 4 to 6 month emergency fund, is crucial, especially when you're just starting out and getting your money into. I think it's super crucial to have that sort of cushion, that breathing room for, again, God forbid something happens to you, right? You don't have to pull money from your investments to be able to afford this bill or afford this sort of emergency, right? That's why it's called emergency fund. It's for these one-off scenarios in which you need that money now. I think it's crucial, and I think it's super important, and overall it's just a means that gives you breathing room for the rest of your life because you know you can afford, heaven forbid, a medical expense or whatever. You have that cushion and you leave your investments growing without having to touch them and possibly getting penalties or getting some sort of, tax penalty or whatever. And another thing, it just gives you ease of mind, and it provides you with a sort of just this solitude in which, okay, I have this, cushion for me. All right, let me focus on my investments. Let me focus on my further savings. Let me focus on my career because I have this cushion of room, this breathing room for a couple months. In which case, I can now be more calm to now go out and pursue different things. So I think it's super important to have that. I think that whenever anyone is starting out, especially when you're a teenager, mid-teens, just starting to work, get this emergency fund, even if it's 20 bucks a week, whatever. Get it done to have like maybe $1,000 when you're 18, maybe increase it when you're 20, maybe to 5K, whatever, right? Always have an emergency fund. It gives you ease of mind and it provides you with more just comfort for the rest of your finances. So the next one is going to be moving out. And here's the thing, a lot of these are going to, from now on, I think a lot of these are going to go either way. It depends on the lifestyle, but for me personally, moving out, I think, is going to be a D tier for me. And I'm going to explain why. The reason for me, and obviously, to preface, this could be A tier, this could be S tier for some people, depending on, if they go to college and they have to move out because the college is too, it, they're going to spend more on the gas and the maintenance of their vehicle over them just spending money on rent and saving themselves the time of, commuting and all that stuff. But for me, I was grateful enough to live within a relatively close area towards work, towards school, whatever, right? And so for me, I don't think moving out, even though I could find a spot, it's just going to be burning my cash away and just, again, stunting my growth. So for me personally, moving out is, while yeah, it could be, I am going to be more comfortable. I'm going to have my own room, my own, my own kitchen, my own whatever, right? I think personally for me, saving those extra, I mean, nowadays rent is crazy, right? Thousands upon thousands of dollars, right? Every single month. I could save that money, invest it, and stay here with my parents, of course, trying to contribute to the household, but saving myself thousands of dollars every single year, and putting that money towards my future, towards a future in which, that money is going to buy me or put a down payment on a house potentially, right? But of course, if you live, you know, if you need to commute long ways, from school, maybe you should consider, getting a dorm, or like what I would recommend would be renting a single place, an apartment, and then having multiple roommates and then splitting the rent. I think that's a better alternative than just moving out all yourself and then getting yourself, into debt because you have to pay. It's just the stress of like every single month, boom, the bill. You gotta pay the bill. You gotta pay the bill. And I think it's just a stress unnecessary, at least for now, until you have enough money to actually build or put a down payment on a house. That's just my opinion, of course. Okay, so the next one is going to be buying a car, and this is kind of in the same boat as moving out. But you become more independent and everything, and it looks cool, right? This one, I am gonna put in. I'm gonna put in B tier, right in the middle. So the reason why I put this one above is because unlike moving out, getting a car is a means of actually, making money. While moving out and getting your own space, it's more or less just you surviving, getting a roof over your head. For a car, you have a means of making money. It's your transportation to and from work, right? And maybe I should have been more specific on this, on what type of car you buy. But in my thinking, I'm thinking, okay, you're gonna buy a car, you're gonna buy a used car, right? Not a brand new one off the lot, because we've heard it a million times before. It loses like, I think like probably more, but like 20% of its value as soon as it hits, as soon as it hits the pavement, right? Do not buy a new car, especially, you're 20, you're below, you're a teen, right? You're an adult, whatever. Do not buy a brand new car. They're gonna just they're just going to be feasting on your monthly payments. The interest is going to eat you alive. You're going to pay hundreds of thousands more in free. You're just going to give them money and interest, right? And of course, there are certain scenarios where you can negotiate, or maybe you have a good credit score, or whatever, right? Or maybe you want a new car. But I don't think anyone who is just starting out should have a brand new car unless their parents, unless they were blessed by like a good background, their family gifted it to them, whatever. I think if you're starting out, a used car, do your research. A used car, in my opinion, is 100 times better than this. And in my opinion, I think it's a good means of transportation because it's your main source of money to and from work again. That's how you make your money. That's how you get to and from work safely. And obviously, I think just getting a used car is super much more better than a brand new car. It's in the middle because some people, me personally, again, I'm close. I choose not to use too much gas on the car. So for me, it's a better opportunity. For other people, it might be a longer commute, so they might need it. So again, it's just situational. Next one is going to be S&P. I put S&P 500. What that means is S&P 500 funds. This one is going to go in S tier. Now, I put S&P 500, but honestly, I didn't want to put too many different like things. It all just means the same thing. It's buying boring funds, buying boring investments. What does that mean? It means buying huge funds, broad ETFs from the United States, from foreign domestic, from international U.S. stocks, international stocks, right? It's buying these big ETFs which hold the big winners of the global economy and investing in that. You don't need to stock pick. You don't need to have a portfolio in which you have 20% Amazon, 20% Google, 20% Apple, right? Some people have that. But when you're starting out, going with the S&P 500 funds is the easiest and is the most convenient way to get your money back in long-term investing because annually the S&P 500 has annually on average returned about 10% every single year. That not only beats inflation but gets you like an extra 7% in yearly returns. This is one of the best ways to get, especially when you're young. If you're 20, if you're 17, 18, 19, maybe you're, whatever, get a brokerage account started and start investing in S&P 500 funds, US total broad market funds or international funds, broad market, which hold thousands of companies. You're literally buying the big winners of the US economy and of the global economy at that. This is just my opinion, but I think this is the best way to generate long term money, especially in a brokerage account and, of course, a Roth IRA. The next one I have here is going to be hype beast purchases. This is D tier. Now, you see this guy, right? He has Supreme, he has, you know, Nike shoes, he has the whole shebang, right? This is same thing as lifestyle inflation, but it's more niche in that people spend their money on just designer brands and designer clothing. It's just a waste of money, right? These things aren't gonna make you happier. Maybe once in a while, buy whatever, right? If you have a budget. Me personally, I don't like buying spending an extra $50 for the same exact shirt I could buy at some sort of Ross or I don't know TJ or Macy's or whatever like that. Buying it at the store, paying an extra $50, and I get the same thing. It's the same shirt. It just has the swoosh of the Nike. I don't like that kind of thinking. Maybe I'm just being frugal. Maybe I'm being some sort of maybe I'm just being very frugal with my money. But in my opinion, I don't see a reason for me to just be giving money to these corporations instead of just getting the same the same shirt, right? It's the same purpose, right? I just don't see it. I just don't see myself wasting money on that. So that's why it's a D tier. It's a waste of money. Don't do it. Next here I have. Now you might see this image and you might think, oh, it's stock picking, right? This is a combination here. I'm gonna explain it. It's sports betting and stock picking all in one. I want to put the two in the same because it's basically the same thing. It's betting. It's gambling, right? You're basically gambling on the stock to go up. You're basically gambling on this sports person to score 30 points this game. Whatever, right? Do not do this. This is a waste of money. You don't know how are you gonna put money on something you have no control over? I understand if it's like a fun thing, and it's totally fine, right? If it's like $10, maybe $50, maybe it's within your budget, right? Okay, fine, have a little fun. But I've seen, heard, and known people who have put hundreds upon thousands of dollars and have completely lost all of it because they were gambling, because they were sports betting, because they were stock picking. Just don't do it, man. I just can't wrap my head around the idea of putting my money into something I have no control over. I don't know if the stock is going to go up, down, sideways, whatever. I'm not going to put my money on that kind of stuff. I understand the adrenaline rush or the hit of dopamine, right, when you put your money on this kind of stuff because it's exhilarating, right? But for me, I just see this as a waste of money and don't do it, especially when you're young. You're just starting out. Don't do this. Next, I have is buy only what you need. Buying the essentials. This to me is going to be S tier. Now, I know it says buy only what you need, and people could see this as, oh, be frugal, don't buy wants. I don't. For me, this image represents buying stuff. Like for me, right? I'm living at home. For me, it's buying and contributing to the household. I'm not paying rent. I'm trying to save it. I'm trying to save it and invest as much money as I can. When I see this image, I see buying and contributing to the household in terms of groceries, in terms of my own essentials, my own you know my own snacks, my own dental, my own hygiene products, whatever, right? And I think it's just a little help, and it's a two front really pro, right? You get to buy your own stuff, you help your family out. You don't have to put too much strain on your parents and having to buy your own food. And two, it just helps you to become more it helps you to become more desensitized to the idea of, okay, I'm gonna have to buy my own food. I'm gonna have to buy my own our own food for my family, right? It just desensitizes you to that idea, and it's overall a good way of thinking in that you get to help your family. You're living at home potentially, right? For me, that's the case. And overall, you're just gaining the ability to think that, okay, this is how much this costs, this is how much this costs, this is how much I'm going to have to make, right? It just helps you on that front, and it's overall a great lesson to have. I think everyone should do this, especially when you're young, to get more economicized and get more knowledge wrapped around your head on how much things are going to cost now in the future and how much you're going to have to work for these things. So I think it's a really good idea. So the next thing I have here is a CD. These overall, I think would be A or S tier, but here, this is a C tier. And it could even be a D tier, but it's still kind of a pro. So I'm going to explain this. So a CD, it's a certificate of deposit. It's things that banks do. They give a rate. It's a very safe investment, right? You put your money in, and they give you 3%, 3.5%, 2.99%, whatever. And they give you that money over monthly occurrences, or potentially over however much the money is locked in, and they give it to you at the end. My problem with this is that while it is giving you interest, I think an emergency fund just beats that entirely because unlike a CD, an emergency fund is totally liquid. If it's sitting in a high yield savings account that's earning 5% every single year, you could have that money anytime you want. Whereas with a CD, it's not only potentially giving you less interest per year, but it's locked. You can't get that money out until the end cycle. Say you get a CD for a year, you can't get that money out until the year has passed. And for someone who is 20, that could potentially be very difficult because if you try to get it out, you'll trigger a penalty and you'll have to pay that penalty. Potentially, I don't know how much it is, but probably hundreds of dollars, right, in penalties. And so for someone who is in, their 20s or their late teens, adulthood, you need liquidity now because you need that money. You don't know what's going to happen, right? The car breaks down, um, whatever, right? You might need, you need to go somewhere, right? You need to pay for this. You need that liquidity. And while CD is good than all these other things, sports betting and everything, it's still in C tier because I don't think it's necessary for someone who is in 20 because you're still growing and you should really rather put that money into an emergency fund than into actual investments that actually grow you money, potentially double the money every single year. So that's why I put it here. The next one here is college. So this one is going to be A tier for me and my A tier for me in my specific scenario. Oh, why is it not? There we go. Oh, there we go. Oh, why is it not? There we go. All right, cool. It's A tier for me. And for some people it's D tier. So for some people it's F tier. For some people it's S tier. Honestly, college is a great. Everyone says the same thing. Oh, college is a scam. It's a scam and this is my way of thinking, right? It's a scam, I think, only for people who don't know what to do or potentially are studying the wrong thing, right? I think college is it's an incredible opportunity to get skills, to get a degree, right? If you actually know what you want to do with your life. For me personally, I have a good idea of what I want to do. So college, I know what I want to do, and I need college in order to get me there. Henceforth, college for me is a great path. It's a great opportunity for some people who want to go into trades, right? You don't need college. You need experience. You need to start working. You need to get into a trade school, right? So I think it really varies. It's only a scam if you don't know what to do, or potentially you're just doing it just to do it. Then that's when it's a scam. But overall, I think people who have a general idea of where they want to go and they want to work in a more professional field, I think college is a great stepping stone for that. All right, so the next one is going to be a side hustle. This one is also going to be A tier. I will. Why does it keep doing that? I was going to put it in S tier. The reason I don't is because, again, some people don't have time for, a side hustle, or it depends on the side hustle. In my opinion, I think it's a great thing to just earn some extra cash and more so get more involved with your community, right? If you're washing, cars, right? You get potentially get connections. You get, maybe good, you get more connections with people who potentially want you to clean their cars more often, or potentially they have friends who have cars, etc., etc. I think it's a great opportunity to just socialize more, to get connections, and to earn some extra cash. Of course, I was going to put it in S tier. I'm not going to because some people don't have time. Maybe they're stuck in school. Maybe they already have a job which is full time. It just depends on the person. For me personally, I think this is A tier. It's a great way to just make some extra cash, get those connections, and overall just do something that which you might potentially love or might consider doing for the rest of your life. So I think it's a great stepping stone, of course. Next thing is going to be a Roth IRA, and I don't even have to say where this has to go. It's an S tier, amazing account. For those who don't know, it's a tax-free advantaged account. There's a max limit right now. Currently, it's 7,500 a year. Right now, you put that money in, but you have to invest. You invest that money already inside the account in what I would say in broad market ETFs, broad market funds, and that money grows over time. And once you hit retirement, once you hit 59 and a half years old, that money plus the growth is completely tax free. And that could grow into millions of dollars. So once you hit retirement and you want to cash out, you owe no taxes. This is one of the greatest accounts, I think, in my opinion, in the entire financial system. It's a great account. I think everyone should do this S tier. Next one is going to be buy now, pay later, and yeah, just put this in D tier. I think it's, again, same thing with lifestyle inflation. It's just a plague. Everything here synergizes so well to get you to spend money. Buy now, pay later is just something which I don't think anyone should be doing nor consider, because just think of it like this. If you can't afford something now, but you can over the next few months, I think your main struggle isn't how much money you make potentially. It's just the habits that you make that try to convince you that you can afford it. I just don't think you should be buying stuff you can't afford to pay in full right now. There's a saying, if you can't buy something twice, if you're trying to buy something which is maybe like $1,000, but you can't buy it twice, which is $2,000, don't buy it, right? Because that comfort level is just getting so diminished. Don't do this. I mean, I don't even know if buy now pay later has interest rates, but again, you're just giving. I mean, you're going to be paying for something in the next 6 months. I mean, are you even gonna be using that thing right in the next 6 months? Just don't do this. If you can't afford it now, if you can't afford it in that singular transaction, don't buy it. Next is going to be a job, and I know this image is kind of confusing. It's a person getting handed money. This is getting a job, and this is going to be S tier. Get a job. Job. I know, scary, right? Come on, man. Just get a job, right? Any job works. I mean, even if you don't like the job, at least you gain the knowledge of, okay, maybe this isn't something I want to do for the rest of my life, right? Just get a job. Get that income going. Even if it's like part time, even if it's a few $100s a week, a few, maybe you barely hit 1,000 a month, right? It doesn't matter. Just get some income in, get your resume going. It's gonna help you. Overall, just get a job. It's gonna help you so much in the long term, and it's your main source of money too. Okay, so the next one is credit card. I'm gonna put this in A tier. Oh, I'm gonna put this in A tier, and everyone's probably just in the comments and raging right now, like, wait a minute, A tier? You just said that buy now pay later is D tier. Let me explain. It is A tier because for me personally, I can control my own habits. I can control my spending. Some people cannot control their spending. Henceforth, this is D tier. But for the people who are, knowledgeable and know how to use credit cards smartly, I think I use credit cards for every single transaction I do. I get those reward points, even if it's 3%, even if it's 1%, it's something. I get my credit score going. I get, the bureaus are going to start getting my record going. I'm going to get my credit score going. If you can't control your habits, do not get a credit card until you get your money up, until you get a good threshold of how money works, and you can actually pay your monthly balance on time. And if you can't control your habits, this is easily A or potentially even S tier because you get the perks, you get rewards, you get your credit score going, and overall, it's just a more convenient way to spend. I think a credit card is an amazing tool, especially when you're below 20. As soon as you turn 18, my opinion, get a credit card. And my advice would be to get a deposited credit card. And what that means is essentially you give money to the bank, say $200, that's your credit limit. And it's a good way to start because you give money to the bank and they hold it, and all of a sudden that's your threshold, and you sort of control how much you are able to spend. You get your credit score going, you get your utilization going, and overall you get the perks of a credit card. Learn how to control your habits, and I promise you this is an incredible opportunity for everyone who is 20 and below. And the final one here is going to be, it's just the image of a person on the mountain, but what this means is essentially taking care of your body and health. This is S tier. Please, especially when you're young, please take care of your body, eat healthy, and more so just take care of your mind too. Don't start consuming all this slop on the internet. Don't be consuming so much, doom scrolling and just videos nonstop consuming. You got to take care of your mind, and I promise you that this is the most important thing. Even though this is a financial strategy video, you taking care of your mind and your body will pay dividends in the later years because you'll feel better, you'll live longer, and overall, you get to spend the rest of your life enjoying all of the habits that you were able to build. Take care of your body, take care of your health and mind, and I promise you that you'll live a life that you'll be proud of. Okay, so this is my ranking video. That was the last one. I appreciate so much you guys for watching. I hope you agree with this, or maybe you don't disagree. And please, if you disagree, please just give a comment down below. I would love to hear from you guys. I love chatting and everything. And yeah, this is my first tier list video. Again, I want to shout out to Slow Stack Society for being able to inspire me. And there's a lot of other YouTubers out there. Shout out to them too. But check out Slow Stack Society. He's on YouTube. His name's Slow Stack Society, SSS. He's an amazing YouTuber. He gives amazing financial advice. And yeah, I was really inspired to make this tier list, and I hope it helps. All right, thank you guys for watching. All right, hope to see you guys in the next one. Have a good day. See you.